Here's another example of a live trade happening right now in IWM. IWM is kind of its own beast, trades however it wants to trade that day. What we notice is, okay, CTE says bears BL to -2 after a 1+ strike swing. You don't have any more bears coming in, you don't have any more bulls. What we do have happen is KTR hit. Now this means when this alert wins, the bull here, this is where it typically draws down to. And this is a perfect entry because it's below the 224 strike. So we can take this exact same level and trade it with futures. Let's look at Top Step now. So here we are in Top Step. We entered the position right above the 224 strike. This line is drawn, is not completely and totally accurate, but it works. We have our stop set just a little bit higher. We'll probably move this up, and because we're trading 5 contracts here, we'll look to scale out of the position. Now our exit target for this is going to be right up here around where the 225 strike is. Now if this comes back down to the 14 EMA, we may exit the trade, but it's possible that we get back up to 225. That's what we're shooting for, so we'll see how this trade goes. If we pull back down into this area, we'll probably exit maybe half of the position and try and keep the rest on as long as possible. It's possible we break higher here, but in case we don't, we're just going to set a stop for one contract right here. You know, that's pretty good for IWM. Obviously, we hope we get a full dollar. The important thing to remember here is because we're operating, we're trading below, you know, the open price for the session here at 9:30. Normally that's the blue line. I just made it red for today. Because we're below, we need to be operating in a bearish mindset, thinking, hey, this thing could go back down at any minute. IWM doesn't like to mean revert very often, as I'll show you guys in the daily stats video coming up in 30 seconds. So this is going against the blue line. We want to set our stops in, and it's good that we held through a little bit of it. Remember, you want to win slow and lose fast. That means if you're in a bad trade, bad setup, get out of it. When you're in a good trade, hold that thing as long as possible because, while we can't control the outcome, we can control our risk, and we're looking to get 1900 out of the rest of these contracts. If this gets stomped out, we'll probably add one more right here. And then the last two we'll put right there. So that's how we're running it right now. We'll see what happens. Let's go look at daily stats so I can show you guys IWM does not like to mean revert. When we like to use daily stats, we use volume because high volume sessions are different than average volume sessions and are different than nightmare. So we can see we're at 105.34% of the 14-day average. You know, that's okay. And what we'll do now is go to daily stats and look at other relevant sessions. Okay, so we're here in daily stats. First thing we'll do, we'll move volume 100 to 110%. And we'll switch on IWM. So out of all the sessions in history of rigged with this level of volume, one of them had mean reversion. The rest of the time, mostly unclear, which means who knows what's going to happen. Fairly common. We bump this up to 120. Oh, 120, mostly bearish. you have one session with mean reversion. So that gives us a little bit of bias on what could happen the rest of today's trading day, February 13th. But ultimately, we want to lose fast, and in this case, win slow. Wow, a couple minutes later, coming back to the trade, this thing looks like it's moving towards 225 strike. Absolutely beautiful. We're at 1,200 bucks. We're probably gonna take one more off right around this level and then move another stop here, and then we're gonna keep our third all the way down below the 14 EMA. So this is gonna be a super, super profitable trade. And if it breaks the blue and it does open and this thing does mean revert, there's no limit to how high it can go. Stocks only go up. We'd love to see it break out here, but more often than not, you're going to see it tap around this red line, around 225, and nuke. It's possible it doesn't. We're going to try and hold this as long as we can. And this is a great trade. All right, we got a little bit of a pullback. Exited one of the contracts down to 2. We're going to move this one up right here. And then we're going to keep our last one on all the way down here. So obviously not perfect. We don't know how the session's going to end. We just lost one. That's okay. Still an excellent, excellent trade. And, holding this last position, we can just take this off, move this bad boy up. We're either going to get 150 bucks more out of it, or we could just raise this thing to infinity, shoot for 1,000. We'll see what happens. We'll record one more video at the end on wherever this thing gets stomped out. All right, it's been about 20-ish minutes or so, 25, 30 minutes. Price has gone nowhere. Kind of amazing that the stop didn't get hit right here. That seems to always happen. But we're just gonna keep our position right here. It's either 150 bucks or 1,100. This contract is running absolutely free. We got all of our profit on the other 4. So we'll just sit and wait, come back later. We ended up getting stumped out of the remaining position right here because what happened? It came all the way back to the strike. It did not mean revert. We are below the opening price, the blue line, and that's just what IWM likes to do. Remember, we looked at daily stats. It told us, hey, IWM doesn't like to mean revert on this kind of volume. It's exactly what happened so far.